Hey there, traders. Greg here. So, a little bit of selling here today. Nothing a big deal, especially from the daily chart and the 65-minute chart. Looks a little climactic on the 5 minute. It's coming down to these pivots now, where it's likely to stabilize. Also, I'll just drag this over here. You can see the 59.90 there. It's got a pretty high volume um, at that level. And the 80 was the big open interest. So maybe it gets, I don't know if it'll get down there. Right now, in the short term, it's probably stabilizing right here as I speak. So we'll see how that goes. So rolling over, red bar, daily chart, no big deal. Was expected. Last Friday spoke about slowing momentum. Momentum slows, had a big move up, and from the daily chart, we just got to wait to see if we get a red bar ignored. If it moves lower, bottoming tail bar, whatever it's going to do, it's going to do. So we just continue to watch it. Qs, a little bit weaker. The semiconductors, which we'll take a look at, were weak right out of the gate this morning. They've been weak all day, and tech has been weak. So that's been putting some pressure on it. And you can see that got a little extended down there. Probably has more to do, of course. I mean, the daily chart's up as it was. Probably got to come down a little bit more, and we'll see what it does here intraday. Um, broke this support on the 65 minute. So while it might bounce a little because it's a little extended here in the short term, odds are it's going to go lower. Semiconductors, bigger negative bar there. You can see big nasty black bar. So far holding on the 20 MA. Um, there's an unfilled gap down there. Set an alert. So if it shoots down there tomorrow, um, maybe there might be some opportunities. And you see on the 65-minute chart, well, there's a gap fill, there's a pivot a little bit below it. Right now it's holding on that bottoming tail bar, which was, of course, that day's low, 20 MA. We'll see if it begins to stabilize. No evidence of that yet on the 5 minute. IWM was holding up there, and I got my little reference point up there, and you can see on the 65 minute, which is, going back kind of far. That's on one of my other charts, but anyway, it should have duplicated that. Manage drawing, show drawings, toolbar, delete. It usually puts it on all the charts anyway. You can see that pivot high up there, and I set the um, that horizontal line from the daily across there, so it shows up on the 65 minute. As on one of my other layouts, it's there. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there on the 65 minute. Why it doesn't show up over here on this one, I don't know. Anyway, um, it's pretty far away from 2022. Nonetheless, it's coming up to a prior high, so it comes into some type of focus. That's why I have it there. Transports look great. Of course, they were underperformers for the longest of time. You can see this little sideways action there for a couple of years, but that broke out, so that looks good. Probably needs to pull back a little. Diamonds are pulling back, starting to get a little topping tail bar. Oh, I think odds are, we'll see a little bit more correction. That's what we were expecting at the end of last week. Financials holding up pretty darn well so far. They had the big gap, and they'll probably pull back a little bit or go sideways at least. KRE regional banks, they look good. Holding up, showing some relative strength, but pulling back as well. Uh, Technology index had a great move, of course, on the election news, having a red bar. Clearly a correction day. I'm just looking at some of the S&Ps, ETFs. We talked about healthcare index in the green room. We did a review of multiple time frames. This is a buy setup on the weekly time frame. It hasn't triggered yet. Consumer staples is also a bicep on the weekly time frame, so we're waiting for the daily to come into alignment with that higher time frame uptrend and bias. It's not there yet. Take a little while. Utilities look like they're going to form a sell setup. Energy holding up relatively well. Kind of surprising because I think oil diving down today. So the energy stocks are showing some relative strength in the face of oil moving lower. Clearly, this is a bullish pattern and a big bottom. And it doesn't always happen, but I've seen times where oil goes in one direction and the energy stocks go in the other. Maybe this is one of those times because this certainly looks like it's going to go higher. Um, eh, that took out the highs today, kind of backed off inside day. Another big energy stock oil company. Just looking at a few here. Some look better than others, of course. Communication services holding up really, really well. Uh, well, Verizon is weak. I just sort this the other way. Well, let's para a bullish 180. Set an alert above that. Maybe it goes tomorrow. Fox looks good. Well, that's Disney at the 200 there. TMUS still continuing to move higher. Industrials probably going to back off. Consumer discretionary. Clearly Tesla got a little bit of ahead of itself, would you say? From that pullback and that monster gap up this morning. Um, so unfilled gap down here, probably calling, especially if the market continues to stay weak. Should be buyers on a pullback. Where it pulls back to is tough to say, other than this gap fill, um, which is an obvious place. And we'll see. So on the 65-minute, maybe a pullback into this area here where it could make a turn. Well, so all these are probably going to take a couple of days to see which way they go. I mentioned this one a little while ago in the room. That was already pulling back, coming into the moving averages and some support here. So I'll throw it in a thumbnail to see if it can make a turn in the coming days. Clearly no evidence of that yet, but based on this daily time frame having broken out and coming down to support, I'll keep an eye on it. If it keeps coming down, maybe it might bounce from the 50. I don't know. Right now, I'm just figuring it's coming down into a support area. No harm in keeping an eye on it for a few days. Um, yeah, go back here for a sec. Getting some bottoming tail bars. Um, so if you do zero DTEs, even on SPY, you can check the premiums or SPX and see if you can get far enough away. Since this has come down quite a bit, it's just got to stabilize for them to lose premium because they're going to expire by day's end. Serum continues to show amazing strength. But we'll see where this all ends up. AI was looking great. Got a topping tail bar here today. 65 minutes still in an uptrend. We'll see if it can recover from this. Clearly stocks that are showing relative strength can start to show weakness when sellers hit the market. And then, of course, what are you going to do? Our stop is down here, which is adequate for what's happening intraday for things to recover, if that's going to happen. As they come down into where buyers will be, this will begin to recover or not. And if we knew what was going to happen with ultimate certainty, of course, we would load up the boat and just wait to collect the millions, but we don't. So time frames, this is in an uptrend. This is in an uptrend. This is broken down. Things have to start to come together again, and we'll see if that happens in the next day or two. As always, if you have questions, email us. Greg and Dan at Master Trader.